You're listening to Navid Moosa of The Mindset Movement. Good day, good people. My name is Navid Moosa. I'm your host today and always for The Mindset Movement. First time listeners, thanks for stopping here and giving us opportunity to earn your trust. We know there's a lot of information out there, yet you choose to listen here. Long time listeners, thanks for rocking with us. We appreciate you guys. We love you just as much. Each and every week, we get into it right away, no fluff. So this week is no different. The moratorium. It's a topic that's been circulating, especially since it had, I think, expired or didn't expire. Who knows? But the moratorium, for those who do not know, is basically a rule or a law that was put into place temporarily to protect those who lost their jobs and cannot afford the rents. So it's causing an issue. It's a heated battle now of landlords versus tenants versus people who don't have any say in it but want to stick their nose into that forum. But ultimately, there's people who are living rent-free, and just like, unfortunately, everything else, when there's a system in place, some people find a way to circumvent it. And it becomes a very sticky, difficult topic to talk about, because automatically the assumption is, well, you're a landlord, you have money because you can afford, you can afford to buy an investment property, therefore you have a lot of money, and it's okay if your tenants don't pay rent. First of all, bullshit on that right there. Second of all, there are people, legit tenants, who do need this moratorium that's the only they can put a roof over their head. So it's not as black and white as social media, TV outlets, water cooler conversations go. There is, just like everything else, it's all about balance. It's all about handling every situation differently, uniquely. And I think when you are in my opinion, when you are a small business owner, you have to balance it out some way, somehow. Whether you're a landlord or if you're someone who has lost employees due to the pandemic, and now, but your clientele is still there, you have to find a way to balance everything out. So to go back to the initial topic of the moratorium, I do have tenants who couldn't pay. I did have tenants who couldn't pay, but here's the difference. They let me know. Like in advance, they said, listen, I lost my job. I am filing for whatever, but I wanted to let you know. I said, okay, let's, and I think first thing I did was, I thanked them for their communication, number one. Number two, I offered my apologies for them losing their job. And then number three was, okay, let's work through this together. And somehow, someway, that got lost somewhere. I don't know where, I don't know how. And politics aside, communication was just working together, has been lost for such a long time. But that's what I think needs to be done first and foremost. If you have a tenant, or if you're dealing with a client and they're dealing with an extenuating circumstance, listen to them, talk to them, hear them out, find out what it is that they plan to do, and be honest with them. I mean, some of these plans are just pipe dreams. They're not realistic, and you need to bring that to their attention. It's not your job to provide for them. It is your job to be honest with them. I think it's anyone's job to be with anybody. It's just to be honest and communicate that honesty some way, somehow, or in a respectful manner. So this moratorium has definitely caused a strain across the board, especially on the groups that I belong to, the investment forums, because you do have certain landlords out there. Like, for example, one guy posted, the tenant broke the toilet latch, which is like a $10 piece. He's like, who should fix it? Really? You're probably, even if you're collecting, with this market rate, you're getting a good amount of rent. Okay. chances are you can go and just afford that $5-10 piece and put it in. And if you want to charge a tenant, then so be it. But you're sitting here going bitching and moaning back and forth over a $10 piece. That's ridiculous. Those are the kind of landlords that give other landlords a bad name. But it all goes back to communication. If you communicate what you're responsible for as a tenant, that question would never have been posted. Number one. Number two, if you tell your tenants from the door, and here's what when I manage my own properties initially, I set the communication very clear, the expectation rather very clear with them, and I communicated saying, listen, I'm not chasing my money. If it's not here on this particular date, I simply file eviction. That's it. However, I do understand everybody, some way, somehow, falls on hard times. But don't crawl into a shell and try to dig it out yourself and not communicate about it. Swallow your pride and give me a call and saying, here's what I'm going through this month. Can we work something out? Yes. An empty building makes me no money. Okay. Having someone out on the street with no roof over their head, over their family's head, I lose sleep. So communication is going to be key during this moratorium with all your tenants, whether it's one tenant or 100 tenants. That's going to be the key to navigating through this, whatever the hell it is. And I think if you're a first time listener, you're probably like, oh, I thought this is, a mindset, small business. And it is. And specifically today, I'm talking about the moratorium because it is a hot topic. And as someone who heavily relies on real estate as an income format to provide for my family, I would like you to view, when I talk about tenants, equivalent to your clients. Because just like tenants pay the rent, which helps me pay my bills, your clients pay your invoices, which help you pay your bills. So at the end of the day, a tenant, generically speaking, is a client. So if you're a small business owner and you're listening to this podcast for the first time, that's how, in my opinion, you should translate this discussion. That although I'm discussing tenants and evictions and moratoriums and communication, you can equate that to your clients, your customers, who maybe have an outstanding bill or who have a job lined up and now they want to reschedule that job or cancel that job, or they want to renegotiate some stuff with you. It's all about communication at the end of the day, business or personal for that matter, but in this case, business. It's communicating very clearly the expectations on both sides. And again, everybody goes through something at some point in time, now more than ever, but you need to understand that the minute you open your mouth and communicate respectively, that's when change happens. That's when you guys can work together as a team. Client and vendor can work together to work out a solution. That's the only way. Unfortunately, ego and pride prevent a lot of people from doing a lot of talking. Because it's going to it may deem them to be weak. That's not the case. It's just that everyone needs help every so often, and that's okay. So that's what I got for you guys this week. I hope it didn't turn anybody off with this discussion. It obviously is personal for me because I am heavily invested into real estate. So it's something that I come across almost daily. But it is something that needs to be discussed and talked about in a respectful format, instead of saying, well, sorry, I was getting a phone call in between, so I had to delete it. It is something that I discuss every single day. It comes up because of, I'm a landlord. But I have a property management company, and so we have discussions on these things. But what it's boiled down to, in my opinion, the success I've had in navigating this weird market, especially with the pandemic, It's just been going on communication and setting that tone from the door in a respectful manner. It sounds pretty simple to me. So that's what I got from you guys. Each and every week I end it the same way, and I won't change it this week. So listen, just do right by the client. If you do right by the client, everything else will fall into place. I promise you. Take care of the client, do right by them. Everything else will fall into place for you and your business. Take care of yourself, be good to each other, respect each other, and just communicate. And trust me, we'll be fine. Take care of yourselves.